Welcome to today's episode. We have a very exciting guest on today, Mike Crandall, founder and CEO of Digital Beachhead. So Mike, super excited to have you on. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Thanks, Megan. Good to be here.
Of course. So, once again, anyone who's new to our podcast and tuning in for the first time, we are Stravix, a company that helps financial and professional firms scale and operate more efficiently with AI and automation. So if you're passionate about using innovation to grow your business or simplify your operations, just make sure to stay around. If you're interested in our free growth consultation, just drop the word growth in our DMs or comments down below. So Mike, I'm super excited to hop on into the conversation today. Why don't you just give us a little bit background about your company, your journey, kind of how you came to be today?
How we got here.
Yes, exactly.
The origin story for those that like universes. And
The villain story, yes.
that's right. So I started off, I'm a retired military. So I did almost 21 years in the Air Force, and I was doing IT/cyber things before they were really a common theme and everyone had computers on their desks. So from that, I grew up and retired out of the military and didn't know what I wanted to do because, of course, it was just like getting out of college again. Like, what do I do now? So I went to work for a large company. They got bought a few times and I didn't make the second buyout. And so I was like, okay, I want to work for me. I don't want my faith relying on someone else. So I started Digital Beachhead with a friend of mine, and we have been doing cybersecurity, and we've been initially focused on the federal government. And then we kind of swapped and moved into the small to mid-size companies because we thought they were underrepresented. So we do cyber consulting for small to mid-sized companies via what we call the fractional or virtual chief information security officer, vCISO. And that's what we do. We kind of just help those companies who need some cyber strategy without, being that full-time person that they can't really afford yet in that back office doing.
Well, I love that. Thank you for that. So let's kind of talk about, the core value that this company brings. So how would you kind of describe, like, specifically the core values that Digital Beachhead brings to your clients today? I know it could be a little bit different each time, but, kind of walk us through that.
Well, it's my kind of military core values brought through, and integrity and excellence in all we do. We really want to join your team, even if it's fractionally, to help your company grow. We are constantly joking with our clients that, when they become the billion-dollar company, we're going to be right there with them every step of the way, from the garage to the, major boardroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So definitely those core values that you learned back in the day, you brought to Digital Beachhead.
Yes. And it bodes well. I think, leaders lead from the front. So we try to just, I do everything my people do, and we feel as a family as much as, coworkers.
Well, I love that. Okay. So let's talk about some challenges. So obviously cyber threats are a big challenge. They're evolving faster than ever with new technology. What major trends or attacks patterns are you seeing in 2025 that maybe like businesses should be aware of?
It really still boils down to that user. And they're just finding more clever ways to get the users to click on something or to take an action. So they move from the standard phishing where it was the Nigerian prince or whatever it was, and you get the email for the $1 million, but now it's a QR code and you're going to go park at your local place to park and you scan a QR code and the QR code has been changed. So now you've been breached that way. So in our technical terms, we call it the supply chain attack. I want to attack Megan, but Megan's got her walls up. So I attack Mike to get in to attack Megan, because he doesn't, but we have connections together.
Mm-hmm.
So
on that, Mike, what would you say? Would you say it's like evolving faster than ever, or is it kind of like what are you seeing specifically this year, like in patterns? Is it picking up? You said QR codes, is it getting worse? Is it getting better?
No, it's always evolving, and to the point of AI, as you mentioned AI earlier, it's getting more sophisticated because of AI. Code is getting more sophisticated. The latest trend is people who are doing screen grabs off of websites. They're actually putting something in the website that if you do a screen capture, it embeds code. So people who are thinking like, yeah, I can just take a screen grab instead of copying and pasting or doing something else. And they've embedded that because the screen grab has, in order to take that screen snapshot, there's code that has to happen. So
I did not I was not aware of that. Is by screen grab, do you mean screenshot, like on a mobile
yeah,
phone?
like if you're screenshot on your computer where you do the snip. Yeah.
Wow, I think that's great for people to be aware of. I had no I thought that that was on my end, you're completely safe. Guess not. Wow, that's good to know. So, talking about AI, very hot topic. Where do you see AI and automation kinda impacting cybersecurity and incident response over the next few years?
Yeah. So on the negative side, of course, the adversaries are using it to do better things, smarter things, a lot of deep fakes. On the positive, there's a lot of data that comes through our systems as we operate on the internet. And AI is great at looking for patterns. So right down to like how the speed of which you type your password in. So Megan types her password in at a cadence of this on average with a plus or minus. And we're talking nanoseconds. But then it'll determine like that's not her typing in the password, right? This is out of speed. So you might get some false positives because you were just having a slow day, didn't get your coffee in and you went slow. But more times than not, it's someone else typing in your password. So that's where AI can go through those mountainous volumes of data and really, narrow it down quickly.
So there's positive and negative.
Yeah. Yeah. With everything, right?
Of
Life is a
course.
balance, the yin and the yang.
Okay, so kinda let's pivot to you specifically in your business. What goals do you guys have in the next, like, 6 to 12 months? Digital Beachhead, any projects you guys are working on, anything big?
Yeah. So the Department of Defense, Department of War has come up with a new program that any company that's working with them as a contractor have to pass a cybersecurity assessment. And right now we're one of 82 companies that can provide that assessment. So we are out there. It's called a C3PAO, a third party CMMC, third party assessment organization. C3PA. So I like to say we are the droids you're looking for. We are the ones that you can get to do your assessments. So we have pivoted into doing assessments as well as the cyber consulting and diving in headlong into this assessment
Well,
ecosystem.
that's big, that's great to hear, and I always like to kinda ask this question. You mentioned some of your goals in the next year or so or upcoming months. If there's just one thing that you could, like, wave a magic wand and it could be fixed or a solution for you, what would that be?
More hours in the day. We always feel, drowning. But I would say within the company, it would be making sure that we had the steady growth so that we can have our employees, maintain what they have. Now that I run a business, I understand why that business probably let us go when I was working for them. You have to think about your bottom line and, your end of year numbers and all these kind of things. And I would like to know that our family, our employees don't have that worry, that we can say, hey, here's our clear path for the future.
That's great to hear. So, kind of just wrapping up a little bit today. If someone is watching and they're a young entrepreneur or want to break into the business, possibly, do you have any advice or send offs that you'd mention to them?
Yeah, I would say don't feel failure. Failure is a stepping stone to success. And you're going to have a lot of roadblocks, hurdles, stumbles along the way. And if you're constantly looking back and saying, what I did wrong, you're going to trip over your future. You got to keep moving forward, always move forward. It's great to glance back, learn from the past, but you have to focus on the future and always move forward.
That's great advice, Mike. I completely agree with you. Well, thank you so much for hopping on today. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Megan. My pleasure.